look, Jesus calls it sheep for a reason. He calls it sheep, right?
Sheep.
And like it's
I'm a
not
sheep.
it's not a compliment. It's not a compliment. He
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 4th episode of In the Fire. I'm your host. This is my co-host.
What's up, guys? I'm Lewis.
That's Lewis. Yes.
It's kind of cringe.
I'm guessing you're kind of excited for this episode. You told me you had a lot ready for us.
Yes, sir, Mr. Krabs, sir.
Don't call me that. Don't call me that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Whether you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, or watching us on YouTube, we appreciate you. Can you let me do the intro?
Do it.
I'm gonna do it again.
Oh my
I'm gonna do it again.
God.
Thank you guys for listening on Spotify, iTunes, or watching us on YouTube. We appreciate you guys, and welcome back to In the Fire.
So, Danny, what's the topic for today?
Today we are talking about dealing with regret. That's a good one.
Intense.
It's a good one.
It is. All right, bet. So, we're talking about anything, right? We got to
Yeah.
establish what exactly we're talking about.
Mm.
So, with regret, right? Let's talk about definition.
Okay.
Definition of regret is the feeling of wishing you made a different decision in the past.
Mm.
Now, this is something
I regret eating Taco Bell last night.
I regret that you told me to eat poke and it tasted like raw fish.
Bro,
which exactly
poke
what it
is good.
Yo, we gotta
all right,
put
if you
some
guys
polls.
don't know about it, poke is like sushi, but like all in a bowl mixed
They're
up.
not paying us
and
for
it's
this.
my favorite food ever, and I have it all the time. And I had him try it today, and this guy disrespected it. You disrespected it.
Yo, it looks better than it tastes. Anyways, so regret, right? It's something we've all been through. Like everybody has at one time in their life been like, dang, I regret I did that.
Yeah,
I regret
definitely.
I didn't do that, right? So first off, we have to establish like the different types of regret.
Okay.
So the first one being like where you missed the opportunity, right? Like you had the opportunity to do something, but you just didn't do it. Maybe it could be you didn't tell somebody you liked them and now they're with somebody else. Sucks.
Oh, that stung.
Or maybe like God told you to do something and you didn't do it.
That stung.
And so with that, it's like you missed the opportunity and it sucks, but I think it goes without saying that with that, you have to take the wisdom you got
Yeah.
and run with it.
Okay.
Like you have to go forward with it.
Right.
Because yeah, it sucks and it's really good. Like, I mean, again, it goes without saying. You have to acknowledge what you missed. You have to acknowledge that it was a bad decision,
Foolish decision.
a foolish decision, but you have to take that wisdom and go forward.
Right.
You can't allow that to like hold you back or like torture you because again, acknowledging it is great. You have to acknowledge it.
Yep.
You have like the regret shows you like you have to acknowledge it, but it so easily turns into you just bullying yourself
Yeah.
because you regret things and you're like, oh
Yeah.
man, I wish I did something different. But that turns into you saying, I suck. I'm terrible. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm stupid.
Yo, you're hitting deep today.
Yeah, and it's like it sucks because that's how simple it is. It turns into straight up bullying yourself, and so that's why you have to be careful with that type of like regret.
Okay.
Acknowledge it, but go forward,
Okay.
and don't allow yourself to bully yourself, because that's bad.
Got it. What's the next
So,
one?
Then right there's a regret of you doing something, like you did something and then you're like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Right.
Okay.
Now with that regret, you have to realize that you can do something about it. Like let's say I said something mean to somebody.
Okay.
I regret that.
Okay.
I have the opportunity to go to that person and say, hey man, I'm sorry.
First one was what? Regret of
A missed opportunity
missed opportunity, and the next one was
because you did something.
because you did something. Okay. Does that include like sin? Like, are we talking about just sin or just things in general?
It could be anything. Just
Okay.
like sin and just doing something that you did, right? And
But I think the feeling of regret comes in when you feel that kind of like sorrow or guilt. Like you said, let's say with that example, you said something mean to somebody.
yeah.
You regret it because you're feeling that guilt. Oh, I might have hurt them. I regret saying that.
Mhm.
So I think like a part of it is like that sin that's like feeling baggage,
Mhm.
and that's why you regret it.
For sure.
Right.
Now with that, like I want to ask you, with that type of regret, right? When you did something that you regret doing it, what are like the next steps in terms of like what you did? Like what should be the next steps for you when you regret doing something?
Doing something or not doing something?
Doing something.
Doing something. Well, I guess it just depends on the situation, but usually when I regret doing something that I did to somebody else to hurt them, I usually push myself to fix the relationship.
Yeah.
Because relationships are extremely valuable. And I'm not talking about just dating. I'm talking about friends, family, all of it. So when you regret something that you said, something that you did to somebody else, you need to let that person know, hey, I feel really bad. I regret doing that to you. And, you know, try to restore that relationship. Because if you just stay quiet and you know, let's say I hurt you, right? If I forgive myself, let's say I do get past that stage where you said, you know, you're bullying yourself. You know, I get past that. I forgive myself. I'm like, you know what? I regret it, but it's okay. I'm going to keep moving on. You don't know that.
Yeah.
You think I just hurt you and then left, or, you know, hurt you and kept going with everything usually. So I think it's important to tell whoever you hurt to that you messed up, that you want to fix it, you want to restore it.
Yeah, like you need to allow that regret to like push you forward to do the right thing.
Right.
Because again, you did something like and you regret it. Now let that like enable you to right your wrongs.
Just in case you guys didn't notice, the first 4 episodes we've talked about so far is all about growth, right? Different ways that we can grow in our lives and not just sit around and flow with everybody else, right? So this episode is also just about that. It's about using the regret, which is something negative, and turning it into growth, into something positive.
Exactly. So you use that regret to you're telling yourself, okay, I'm gonna let this teach me, instead of me being ignorant, right? Because a lot of times, like, which something I've done before, you take this regret feeling, and you push it to the side.
You like so push it down.
Yeah, you push it down. You put it to the side, and so when you do those things, those wrong things that you should feel regretful about, you start becoming numb to like doing the wrong thing. You stop caring about doing the wrong thing, right? Okay. Because like you're saying, like you're pushing that, like, oh man, this is bad. I should right my wrongs, but you're pushing it to the side, and so now you're not allowing yourself to feel bad about what you did. And so you're being numb to it. Now you're allowing that wrong thing to like be prominent because you stop caring.
It's kind of like the things that we get addicted to. Yeah. You know, once you keep doing it, you become more and more immune. So the more that you feel this regret and the more that you don't let it go, the more you're keeping it to yourself, kind of stacks on and you'll feel less regret each time. And like you said, you get to a point where eventually you're not feeling anything and you're just doing all these bad things without regret.
Exactly. And you have to, that's why I said before, you have to acknowledge it, that what you did, I'm regretful. Yeah, I feel it, but don't let it bully you. But also don't push it to the side either. Yeah. Because then you stop caring. So with that, right, sometimes you don't even know that what you're doing is wrong. Right, like again, like you feel that regret, and you don't know if what you're doing is wrong.
Do you feel that regret though? If you don't know that it's wrong, how do you feel the regret?
Exactly. That's why you have to like figure that out. Like you have to acknowledge it, because like we said, we have made a society. We have figured out. We have made ourselves what is right and what is wrong. So that's why we have to be renewed in the mind to tell ourselves, wait, this is actually wrong what I'm doing.
I think it's like. Right, so let's go back to me saying something to you, right? Let's say I say something to you, and in my head it wasn't, you know, it was normal. I brushed past it. It was like, oh, I was just joking around. You didn't take it jokingly around. And you got insulted by it. And obviously I don't feel regret because to me it was a joke. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's how regret works, right? You understood that after that. You realize that, oh, yo, you heard that you actually hurt me. Like I told you, wait, Danny, you hurt me at that time. And so you're like, oh, man, I shouldn't have said that. Right. And that's when you become like, okay, maybe I have to watch what I say. And that's when regret turns into like a teacher. Yeah. When you're saying, okay, I'm gonna learn from this. Or you could be like, you're being too soft. And then you don't care about my feelings. And you keep on saying the same thing.
I've had that issue so many times. And I don't know if I'm in the wrong or if, like, I don't know how to improve myself in that aspect, but a lot of times I just feel like some people are just too sensitive, too soft, and I feel like anything I say will insult them. And like when they get offended, I don't feel regret because it's like I really didn't say anything to you. I think it kind of depends on like the situation and what I actually said. Sometimes I do look back and then I'm like, okay, I see how that could have offended you. You know, and some things that I say hit deeper to certain people than other people. Yeah. So I need to learn to acknowledge that. But I don't know, is it the fact that I've been pushing that regret down? That I'm not feeling regret for some of the things I say? I don't know.
I guess it's like, again, acknowledging that, okay, maybe that one time you actually hurt somebody's feelings. Yeah. So now let that teach you, like, okay, I have to watch what I say. Okay. Like from that exact moment, you could say, okay, now I know what to how I should watch my words when I'm talking to different people.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how they're gonna interpret it, right? So again, with that that regret, right? It's like you turn into a bully. You start bullying yourself, and you're like, oh man, I suck. I wish I could have done better, right? I want to share this verse, right? It says, no, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. Which is
forgetting the past.
Which is something I don't think is very prominent in our lives.
It's not.
It's like
people love to hold on tight to their past.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yep.
And you know that brings forth like nothing but negativity.
Yep.
When they're like, but didn't you do that one thing? And that sucks.
Yeah.
And not just for regret too, but just like in general, like
it's tough too because like ourselves, we don't like sometimes it's not we that hold on to that past, but it's the other people around us that hold on to our past. Like you just said, oh, didn't you do that a while back? And it stings because it's like I pushed past it hoping everybody else would. Mm-hmm. And then that regret feeling starts kicking back in, and then you're just filled with negativity now. So
yeah. And it sucks because that holds you back.
Yeah.
But letting that regret like stay and linger and like you ruminate on it, like it hurts. It hurts you. Instead of just taking the lesson and pushing it aside and saying, okay, I understand what I did wrong, which is humble and smart, right? And wise to be like, okay, I understand what I did wrong, but I'm gonna push this. I'm not gonna let it like destroy me, right? And another part of that verse, it says, but we must hold on to the progress we have already made. And with that, right, he's not saying you must hold on to the regrets you've made. He's saying hold on to the progress we've already made, right? Like right now,
I told you that the other day when something happened and you were struggling. Mm-hmm. You know, when we go through this journey and this path of becoming better people and growing as followers or faith believers, whatever it is. A lot of times when we go up the stairs, we're doing great. We hit this point where like we're doing amazing in our lives. Boom, something happens. We have a moment of weakness. Mm-hmm. We take that step back.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, in your mind, you think you rolled down all those stairs and now you're back to square one. No.
Yeah.
All that work you put in, all that effort, all that time that was put into you becoming better. When you fall once, it's not you falling down the entire stairs, time to restart. You're back to square one. You're a horrible person. No. Yes, it's one step back. Yes, you stopped going forward for a little bit. That's okay. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Read that part of the verse again.
But we must hold on to the progress we have already made.
Exactly.
You're not holding on to failures. You're not saying, I failed here, I failed over there, I failed here, and I'm keeping it inside.
No.
And so, but he's not saying that.
It's kind of like the saying about looking at the glass half full instead of half empty.
Yeah.
Right? You hold on to the progress you've already made instead of looking back at, okay, I took that one step back. Mm-hmm. It's okay, let's move on. Some people love to, I took that one step back, I'm screwed, I'm going to stay on this step forever. No, it's like, And
it's like a choice, right? He says, let us hold on to the progress. Mm-hmm. So it's a choice to either feel joyful about how much you've grown, or you're going to let yourself beat yourself up just because of the failures you've made. Right? So it's a choice.
Yeah.
Now with the other part of that, right, which is like letting those stuff ruminate and come inside, what are the dangers of that? Of letting that like regret just stay there?
Well, I guess the same thing that we talked about before. When you like keep piling it up, you eventually become numb and you're not improving. And I think a lot of times I describe it as this way, right? When you pile it up, think of it as like a balloon that like you're inflating, right? The more you inflate it, the more stuff you put inside of it. One day, pop.
Dang.
Blows up. You're going to blow up and you're going to do a lot of things you're going to regret. Because all that regret you're piling in, eventually one day is going to pop and you're going to let that regret go everybody else. And then you're going to be hurting a lot of people, yeah.
It's like, it's so cool because how he says, hold on, right? It's like, he's saying, don't let go to the wisdom you've got.
Yeah.
Like, don't let go of it. Hold on to the wisdom you've gotten through the progress you've made.
Yeah.
And so when you're holding on, right, if you're holding something with two hands, if you want to pick something back up, if you want to pick something else up, you have to drop that.
Yeah.
And pick something else up. So you have to drop the regret and all the negativity. You have to drop it.
To pick up the good stuff.
But that's the thing, too. It's space. If you're all clogged up with negativity, that's all you're going to have. And so
I just got this image, right? Like, you're either holding on to the baggage of negativity or like good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So like in my head, it's like, all right, if I give you a choice, do you either want to hold on to a bag of bricks or do you want to hold on to a bunch of like equal weight of poke bowls that you can eat afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, I'm gonna pick up the poke bowls instead of the bricks because I get to eat it after. Mm-hmm. So you want to pick up the good stuff instead of the bad stuff. And like you said, you can only hold certain like things, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to pick up that good thing, you gotta drop the bad thing. You can't hold both. You can't hold both.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to pick up that freedom, because when you let go of freedom, when you let go of regret, you get freedom. If you want that freedom and that joy and that lifestyle where you can like wake up and actually be happy and excited to go out and work and meet people, instead of having to wake up and think about that regret that you're holding on to, kind of gotta drop it.
Yeah, and like we know what we should do. Yeah. Like that regret shows us what we should do,
but we're scared.
Either like, cause look, Jesus calls it sheep for a reason. He calls it sheep, right?
Sheep.
And like it's not a compliment. It's not a compliment.
I'm a sheep.
He calls us sheep because we're dumb. Like sheep are dumb. Okay. Like have you seen those videos of that one sheep that like jumped out of this I forgot like this water thing. He jumped out of it, like, and then he jumped back into it later. Like it's just like us. We jump out of our sin and we go back into it later.
Yeah.
So he calls it sheep because like we know what the right thing to do is, but we don't do it. And that's why that regret has to be a teaching, has to be a teacher to us, and allow it to tell us, okay, I did that's something I did wrong. I'm gonna let that teach me.
Right.
Without like, just forgetting about it and again becoming numb to that like sense of I don't care.
Right. Regret can either destroy you or build you.
Exactly.
It's up to you. It's up to you to decide whether you want it to destroy you or build you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. An important part of it is like regret is the starting point.
Yeah.
Right, not the finish line. So it's like you're starting with regret. Regret is the starting point. Just like, actually, I can give a story about like with that numbing thing, right? I had that regret of what I did that was wrong. I did something wrong, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, I stopped caring because I enjoyed that thing more.
Dang, I can relate to.
I enjoyed that thing more, so I stopped. Like again, I knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
And again, wisdom is knowing the right thing to do and doing it.
Did people around you tell you that it was wrong too?
Yeah.
And you just ignored it? Felt that? Yeah, absolutely.
So like we know it's wrong, but we keep and that's the thing too. Like I let that numbness of like, okay, this is wrong, but I don't really care.
I guess it also goes back into the other episodes that we talked about where you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of get comfortable in our sin.
Yeah.
Right? Even though we know it's wrong, we're just like, it's like, it's okay here. I'm not hurting anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hurting anybody else.
It's like,
and then when you do it, you feel that regret because we all do. I know we do.
Yeah.
But we just love to push it down until the point where you said we're just numb, no ignition in our hearts. We're just doing it, whatever it is, and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it has to be that spark. It has to show. It has to be the light. Like let regret be like a spark to you.
Yeah.
Right. Let it put light into the darkness.
Yeah.
Because again, we feel regret because of some dark things we might have done.
Right.
But when you let that regret be a spark, it lightens up the place, and then it shows you what's wrong about what you did.
It's funny because when we decided that we were gonna do this episode, I remember looking at it, and in my head, I always believed in like that regret wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like thinking like dealing with regret. As a kid, kids would come up to me, or not kids, like my friends, right? Because I was a kid. They would come up to me and be like, "Yo, like, I regret doing this." I'd be like, "Don't regret it. It's a learning process, right? You went through it for a reason. You failed. You did this. Now you get up and you learn. It's not regret. Oh, I wish this never happened. It happened for a reason. That's done. It happened. Stop holding on to your past. Now use it as a growth." But I think like regret is real.
Yeah, no, it is.
Regret is real. It's okay to regret and like, I shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like, but it is the part where I said that it's a growth process. Yeah. That is true.
A growth process and a spark too.
Yeah.
It shows you like wrong, like before coming to the faith, like the guilt, that regret of what I done. It was a spark. It was like, okay, I understand that I'm a sinner. Like I've done wrong. Now I want to grow from that.
You know what's crazy? I wanted to share this too. When I was like researching for this episode, I actually found out that God regretted something. Because I was like, yeah, how could God regret something,
Isn't he wise or something? Isn't he like
exactly. Genesis 6:6, the Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled.
Wow. That's crazy.
But then again, I read like some people that were analyzing the verse, and they said like the regret wasn't, oh, I wish like I never made them. It was more like he knew the sin was coming. A lot of people, like I've had atheist friends that come up to me and they'll ask me the same thing. They'll be like, if God knows everything, and I'm like, yes, God knows everything. And they're like, okay. If he knew that sin was gonna come into the world and all this bad stuff is gonna happen on planet Earth, why did he make it happen? And I was like, he didn't let it happen. He knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But actually seeing it still troubled him. So that's when he said like, I regret it, because he felt like he was troubled in his heart, because he's like, he saw all of the mess and all of the sin that was happening. He's like, dang, shouldn't have done that. You know?
It's crazy. It's cool because like it shows us that, again, God is the God of all emotion. Like he's not like you feel a type of way and God's like, what is that? Why are you feeling like that? That's mad weird.
Yeah.
Like that's why like he gets to, what's the word? He can connect with us.
Oh yeah.
Like I can say I'm feeling this type of way. I don't even know what this feeling is.
A lot of people picture him as like this like serious father figure that like just doesn't connect in any way
and gets mad every time.
But when you're sad, he's sad. When you're angry, he's angry. You know, he's feeling the same things that you're feeling, and it troubles him to see you that way.
For sure.
So it's not like, oh, like, you know, God, I regret this. It's like, yo, stop being dumb. Get up. Go. Obviously, it's not like that. He's like, oh, you know, like, I get it, my son. I get it. You know, it happened. The past is the past. Let's move on. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Right. And he motivates us to keep going.
Yeah. And like with that, if you have a false view on it, like for me, because I know I've had this false view of like he gets mad or something.
Yeah.
Like every time. That's why that regret. Like I get that the feeling of like he's mad at me.
You went through a lot of that when you first started becoming a Christian.
For
I
sure.
remember,
And it sucks. Like because it adds like this shame for no reason. Like he's not putting shame on me. I'm putting shame on myself.
Yeah.
Because I have this false view. That's why, like, renewing the mind is really important. Like, you have to gain new wisdom.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that, and like that could have saved me like 2 years of torture, dude. If somebody just said he's not mad at you.
Do you regret feeling that way? You regret putting that shame on you?
Yeah, I do.
Dang.
I didn't want that.
But you learned from it. That's what I'm saying. You learned from it, and you're like, you know what? Like, I remember one day you told me, you asked me about it, and I was like, listen, like, God is not like that. God's not putting shame on you.
Yeah.
He's proud of you, like, even taking these little steps, and you're like, what? God does that? What?
Yeah, it's like he actually.
And ever since you felt free, and you're like, you know, every time you make a mistake, you're like, God, I'm sorry. I'm learning. Let's keep going, you know?
Because again, we're not adding that shame on ourselves, but it's like, I mean, we are adding that shame on ourselves.
Yeah.
But we have to understand that, again, he's the God of all emotion. He can connect with us every single way, which is insane.
Absolutely.
Having somebody that can connect with every single thing you felt. Right? Like, if you feel sad, he's like, I felt sad too. Like, when you get angry, I've been angry too. When you be happy, God, I've been joyful too.
Picturing God sad doesn't like,
it's
I can't picture it in my head. I don't know.
Like, every day is like 1,000 years to him. So, like, what 1 minute of sad, he's like, all right. Like, the timing is weird. No, but yeah, for sure. Like,
it's like, God, you need a tissue? No, I'm done. It's just a quick tear, you know.
1 second is a million years. 1 million years, 1 second. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
No, but for sure, like, again, regret is always the best used as a teacher.
Yeah.
It's really important not to let it bully you, not to ruminate on that stuff, but to allow it to push you forward, to push you forward, to be that step, to be like, okay, I understand what I did wrong, which is, again, very humble.
Yeah.
That's a humble thing. Again, what I say last podcast? Humility.
The symbol, our signature symbol. Yeah.
Humility. That takes humility to tell yourself, absolutely. I did wrong. Because a lot of people can, like, again,
it's also wise, dude.
Exactly.
It's also wise.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's pretty common for people to be like, okay, yeah, you got mad that I said that, I don't care. And be ignorant about it.
Just move on, yeah. Maybe find a new friend.
Just because
like, you're too sensitive. I'm finding a new friend, bruh. You're too sensitive.
Crazy, bro. That's not loving.
and then you mess up with that new friend. You're like, I'm finding a new friend. You're gonna run out of people.
Yeah, dude.
You're gonna go through a whole society. You're gonna run out of people.
Ignorance is not good.
Yeah.
Ignorance is basically foolishness.
Yeah.
Like, you need to act in wisdom and just, you know, do that. Like, go to that person, say, I'm sorry.
And notice this episode was not called Stop Regretting. It's called Dealing with Regret. Yeah. Because we all make mistakes. We all have that regret. But it's about letting it be a positive thing and helping us grow. Yeah. And not about it destroying us and letting ourselves bleed. Ourselves. So. Yeah, it's like it's like a sword. Like, you either use it to attack, or you're gonna let it stab yourself. Yeah.
that's really important. But yeah, that's like the main thing about regret.
Awesome, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was episode 4. Whether you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, or watching us on YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe, leave a like, whatever it is, all the YouTube stuff that you guys normally... You good, bro?
Oh.
Did you want to do the outro?
No.
Good, because I always do it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you guys. Hope you guys are having an amazing week. Don't forget to tune in for episode 5. Peace out.
Peace.
Yes, sir.